Hi, my name is Tom, and this is What It Takes. Each episode, I sit down with real business owners to talk about their journey, the wins, the challenges, and everything in between. Let's dive in. All right, and welcome back to Business Owners Tell All What It Takes, the show where we go beyond the highlight reel and really dig into what it actually takes to build and grow a business. My name is Tom. I am your host for today, and today's guest is someone who's built a global technology company from the ground up. Santosh Kaveti, the founder of CEO of ProArch. Santosh is based out of the US with ProArch headquartered in Chicago. He spent years helping organizations navigate digital transformation through cloud data and AI. But what really stood out to me was when we were looking into his story, how much of his journey has been just basically based on learning and constantly evolving and adapting and making decisions in environments where there isn't always a clear answer. And that's exactly what we're going to jumping in today. We're diving into something every business owner faces, but not everyone wants to talk about openly, and that is how you actually learn to make better decisions as the stakes get higher. Santosh, I am so glad you are here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. Glad to be here with your audience.
Yes, yes. So I'm super excited. And for those of us who may not be as familiar, can you give us a quick overview of what ProArch is and what you're focused on today?
Okay. Before I do that, I must uh, correct the pronunciation. And I know it's not your fault. This happens to us all the time. It's spelled as ProArch, but it's pronounced as ProArch.
ProArch. Okay, thank
Um,
you.
and the backstory there is that it's a combination of professional pro from professional architects, arc from architects. That's how it
Ah,
became ProArch. I know. Well, we are about 400 amazing team members globally located. We're headquartered here in Atlanta. By the way, Atlanta is the home, and that's where I live as well. And we have offices in upstate New York, London, as well as in India. Uh, the best way to describe us is that we operationalize AI in complex, regulated, industrial, and energy environments.
mm,
And the reason we're having a lot of success is because our team has invested heavily in the right foundation layers, which is we have a very strong cloud foundation. We have a really strong data and AI foundation. And last but not the least, probably the most important one is we have a very strong security foundation.
mm.
So we are able to leverage and bring these three things together and converge them into helping our customers. Because most of the time, when you think about operationalizing AI, the blockers are, they start with data preparedness, they start with governance, security, and so on before you can really start applying AI and using AI for the right ROI that the companies typically look for. That's the best way to describe us.
No, that is honestly that's amazing because I think a lot of people who aren't as familiar with AI, they instantly just think of like Chat GPT or something along those lines, where you actually take it and you use it to create better systems that, you said it the best, their ROI. You're using AI to generate a return on investment that could be monumental, and that is, I mean, that's just amazing. That is the future, and that is amazing to see that you're already doing this. But take us kind of back to the beginning. What led you to start the company, and what did those early days kind of look like?
Chaotic, a lot of learning. So I don't come from a business background. So starting the entrepreneurial journey was definitely embracing uncertainty, embracing chaos. But we had a strong mission and a vision and a goal that the founding team set out to accomplish. Early on, our vision was very simple. We wanted to simplify the complexity that was involved in building great products. what we saw in the marketplace was a lot of app dev companies, but truly building a product requires a completely different type of thinking. What we saw, the inefficiencies that we saw, the fallacies in the entire methodology, the loss in translation through different layers, that were formed, and the name of the processes. We looked at all of that and said, look, there is probably about 50 to 70% of leakage of time, effort, and therefore money
Mm.
in building a product. How about we go in to try to define a new way to bridge these gaps, and therefore you can go to market faster, you can provide better experience, there is less loss in translation through different layers, and bring the users who actually are going to use a product closer to people, everybody who's actually building and getting the product right. So how do we remove these intermediate layers that we formed? So that was the original vision, and that's how we started the company, and we still do that. That's still in our DNA.
That is amazing. One of the things I love that you said is that you take and you bridge the gap between the users and the people that actually build it. Like, because that's what matters, right? Is that you could have a great product, but if the users can't use it properly, that product is kind of obsolete at that point. But being able to take your product, interface it so that the users can use it for what it's used for is just, I mean, that is it sounds so simple, but yet, I mean, it's like, I think that is a struggle that companies who are using products or software or anything along those lines actually struggle with on a daily. And that is um, just amazing.
Indeed,
So,
indeed,
yeah.
it's a billions of dollars of, I would say, gained economy or lost economy, however you want to look at, if
Hmm.
you could do that effectively. So absolutely, could not agree with you more there.
So, I mean, kind of back to the business. When you started to grow, when did you realize that decision making itself was a skill that you needed to develop?
Well, early on, um, it started, you know, we had a startup phase, and then we had a scale up phase. We're now in the growth mode. Uh, uh, but my realization was that, and a good thing, I didn't come from business background, so very quickly I realized I have my strengths, but to run a business, you need people, you need a strong team, you need purpose, and you need progress.
Mm,
And you need a team that understands the purpose and is committed and connected enough to the purpose to know that they are going to be with you throughout the journey of ups and downs, throughout the learnings, throughout the failures, throughout the fallacies. And that's really key, which means that you have to build, your focus really is building the team that can do what they do best, and aligning everybody's individual passions, objectives to company's purpose, and then ultimately to be able to serve our customers, and of course everybody wins when we do that effectively. It's easier said than done, I must say, but everybody wins when you do that effectively.
I love what you said, and that's just building the team based on their skills and abilities. And it's one of the things that I see some of founders that they kind of struggle with is that they want to hold on to everything that they have, and then and it's that breakthrough moment when they realize that like when you're in that startup to like the scale transition, that you're like, I can't do this all by myself. It's I had an old mentor who once told me, you don't know what you don't know, so you better find somebody who knows. And that was it was kind of profound to me, and that was one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how to do this, or I thought I did, but I don't know how to do it effectively, or I don't know how to do it great. And you bring somebody who does, who also aligns with your company's values and aligns with a vision, and now you've got the secret sauce. That is just I love how you kind of phrase it, and that's it's amazing. I love hearing that, and obviously it's been beneficial. That's I see a lot of companies struggle from the startup to the scale phase because it's that hard distribution of I don't want to say power, but like responsibilities that is, you have this idea and you're very close fisted, and then you got to be able to willing to open it up and have somebody help, basically just run with it also. Clearly you got to be in the same direction, but I mean, it's your team that you've built and founded. Obviously, it's doing something right as you moved on from the scale up to the growth phase, and that's just amazing. I love hearing that.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, look, there are always going to be challenges, the internal challenges that you face, and of course, external challenges that you face. Okay. The disruption that every company is going through today because of AI, because of macroeconomics, because of the how the policies are being levied, right? It's unprecedented. So you need to make sure that you are able to synthesize and articulate. These two probably are very, very important qualities, in any leader. It took me some time to learn. Good thing is that you can train yourself to get there. But ability to synthesize and ability to articulate is super important because clarity is more in most cases will what will drive your results. And if you can't provide that clarity to your teams, it's very difficult for them to figure out where they fit in, how they fit in, what they're supposed to do to because it's everybody matters, right? Everybody moves the needle together. In that situation, it's very important that you are able to synthesize and articulate.
Oh, I love that. Just that phrase, is that clarity will drive the team. And I think that is so key, because obviously, as the founder, you have a very clear cut vision of where you wanted to be and how you wanted to get there. And without, your ability to articulate that to your team, we may be running in different directions, but that learned ability that you have is just amazing, that you can align everybody so that everybody's pointing in the right directions. It's amazing. I love hearing the success stories like that, because it's just to be very honest, we speak with a lot of business owners, and sometimes um, that's a struggle, is that that, and like you said, it's a learned skill, is just being able to articulate and synthesize exactly what you want to say, and the direction. And that's it's like you said, I'm sure it's easier said than done, right?
Oh, it's definitely, but one I guess advice I have, and this helped me a lot is have mentors. It took me some time to build my mentor group,
Mhm.
but I was fortunate and lucky to have amazing mentors. Mentors are different fields, right? They all have different experiences. But if you can form, or if you can develop and build a good mentors around you, that will help you a lot. One of the mentors I have, who is phenomenal in terms of articulation, is where I learned, okay, this is super important. The ability to go into a chaotic room and be able to look at everything that's going on there and then synthesize and articulate so that everybody goes, yes, that's what we all are talking about, is, as you rightly said, easier said than done. But you, through just taking a step back, slowing down, reflecting, you can get there. It's possible to get there.
Yes, I love that. So kind of back to the AI and cloud business that you're in with the security. Um, One of the things about this is that it is an ever evolving space. It is always growing, something's always new. So one of my questions is, when you're faced with the uncertainty of today and tomorrow of what this space will look like and as it evolves, um, how do you personally work through some of the decisions that you're making to lead and grow your company?
Well, um, I laughed there because we're going through that right now.
Uh-huh.
So historically, the disruption that we're going through right now is unprecedented. The uncertainty is also unprecedented because the business models are being rewritten. Monetization, commercialization is completely, rethought through. So at every level, everything is being disrupted. So when you have such a huge disruption, and also something that's happening at unprecedented scale and speed. Okay. Because we went through cycles of technology evolutions. Cloud came in. It took 20 years, close to, I would say 15 years at least, to gain to some momentum of cloud adoption. Data and big data came through, but again, it took more than a decade to gain some momentum. AI is not like that, right? It's 3 years old, literally generative AI, especially. AI has been around for a long time, but I'm talking specifically about Gen AI. It changed the world. It changed, and everybody now has to rethink through how their workflows, processes, and products, people, tools will have to reorient to the new level of thinking. Now, I firmly believe that anytime there is a disruption, there is also a huge opportunity.
Mm.
You have to embrace, you have to first identify that opportunity and embrace it, and you have to bring the entire team along. Okay. In our case, historically, we have been known as a very good IT services firm with very strong partnerships with hyperscalers such as Microsoft, okay, which has been great for us. Now, what in last, I would say 12 to 18 months, we're transitioning into a AI or agentic company that helps enterprises operationalize AI and do it at speed and scale, more importantly, with the right foundation of cloud, data, and security.
Mm.
The shift from this model of, hey, you're an IT services company to your company that now helps operationalize AI is a huge shift. But the good news for us is that we already have, thanks to our amazing team, all the foundational pieces that we need to build together. Now we're coming together to say, what does it mean and what does it take for us to actually become this new company? We're actively investing in building solutions. We're actively investing in building agents that actually, are usable in a real complex environment where there are silos of data, there are, multitude of applications in play. How do you fit this in and how, at the same time, show the results, show auditable outcomes, show the ROI that CFOs are looking for? That's what we have been doing in the last 12 to 18 months. And I must say that the teams have responded very well to this new change. But again, as I said, it's easier said than done. There's a lot of cultural management, change management, and training that we still are going through, by the way. This is a journey, to be able to effectively get there. But I'm confident we'll get there.
No, I mean that is just amazing. I like how you said that like your company's actively making a shift based on honestly how what's happening in the world. And that is being able to quickly pivot in 12 to 18 months, but having the solid foundation to be able to do so is just, it's crazy. I love hearing that. Um, so, one of the things you said is that you bring your team along. Um, how do you build that same decision making capability with your team and your leaders who are all developing kind of different aspects of it based on the same foundation and the right goal? Like it's got to be a very team community. How would you say you build that decision making capability with them?
That's an excellent question. Um, in the previous model, I have to admit we were siloed because we had a strong cloud practice. We had a data practice, AI practice, we had a security practice,
Mm.
and our teams were doing amazing job. We would collaborate, but collaboration was on need basis. And our customers loved us, but still we were only able to provide services as a siloed practice.
Mm.
We do develop solutions for specific industries like power generation, manufacturing, healthcare, and financial services. Now, in the new model, what we're having to do is unlearn and restructure ourselves to say, look, we cannot be operating in these silos anymore. We have to break these silos and collaborate. So we have to operate as a one functional unit. So when we talk about helping a customer with their AI journey, we go in there as a team. We go in there as a team of a cloud architect, solutions architect, data architect, AI architect coming together and saying, let's understand their problems together and see how we can unblock them and then build a solution that matters to them. So that coming together is what's really, really, really helping us. As I said, it's again easier said than done. There's a lot of unlearning, there's a lot of letting go, a lot of even tough decisions, disagreements, but you have to go through that journey. This is not easy. This is very, very difficult. But we're beginning to see results. The good thing is as you experience the outcome of coming together and collaborate as one team, then you'll start saying, oh my God, this is really going to work. This can change things. Again, I have to actually kind of thank AI for allowing us and also pushing us in that direction. Because if you're in the comfort zone, you won't make those moves, right? Necessity is the mother of invention. So sometimes when you're put in that situation, you respond, and it's amazing how teams come together in that situation. And our team definitely did.
That's amazing. And the one word that you said that like I cling to is that there are going to be disagreements, because I think that is something that I hate to say it, it's often looked over. Is that like without the disagreements, is everybody agreed this was the right way? It may not be the right way, but like having these solid teams that were, as you said, they were sectioned out into silos, that we worked on this area and you worked on this area. But now when they come together, they could say, oh, I see how you did this here, but it may not work because we're doing this here. And then that disagreement is going to come up, and it's exactly what you said, necessity like is the mother of invention. So we got to change this up to make this work right for the user. I just amazing how your team has come together to build that. And to be very honest, in a very short time, 12 to 18 months, in children years is forever. In business years, that's a blink of an eye. That's moving and moving quick, and that quick pivot is just amazing. I love hearing that.
Thank you, Tom. But remember, I mean, I know historically 12 to 18 months is a short period of time, but in these times when big companies' models are being disrupted in a matter of 6 months, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
saw the example of where Anthropic released some 12 free plugins to their Claude code and wiped off 1 trillion off of the market. So we're in these times where we don't have the luxury of just waiting
Yeah.
and watching and observing and then saying, okay, let others do it first and then I'll see what I could do later. Now, you either embrace and adapt and stay ahead, or you will not just fall behind. I think you will just become obsolete.
That's especially in the technology space. I think that is 100% true. Is that um, you're right. If you're not up to date, if you're not, I wouldn't even want to say up to date. If you're not leading the pack, you have just become obsolete. It's because
Obsolete.
yeah, you're 100% correct. It's just moving so fast, and I love seeing that your company is able to pivot and do that. I've got one more question for you, Santosh. It's one I ask for every single one of our guests, and that is this: what does it really take to be a business owner?
One, clarity on your purpose. Two, incredible patience. Patience doesn't mean that you need to slow down or you aren't accomplishing things faster. Okay. And three, your ability to influence people in a good way and connect them to the purpose, because they have to feel that, okay, I am going to be part of that purpose. I really want to be part of the purpose, without which it's very difficult to get the true alignment. Will people work hard even without alignment? They will. But when they do align with where you're going and the purpose, you will see another level of commitment, and that's what you seek.
Oh, that is amazing. That is so great. Santosh, it was a pleasure. It was insightful talking to you, especially in a space that I'm going to be very honest, I know very little about, but I watch from afar and I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are amazing. It is so great to hear about what you're doing and where ProArch is going, and how you are leading them. Um, just super blessed that you came on here today. So before we sign off, if you are watching this and you would like to be our next guest on Business Owners Tell All, we would love to have you. Drop me a DM and we will talk to you soon. Santosh, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Would you or someone you know like to be featured on this podcast? Our applications are now open. Apply today at seekersolution.com and click on the podcast link to get started.